It's time for TWiG This Week in Google, our 100th episode. Matt Cutts from Google joins Gina, Jeff, and me as we talk about Google in the cloud next.
Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is TWiT. Bandwidth for This Week in Google is provided by Cachefly. Cachefly.com. This is TWiG, This Week in Google, episode 100, recorded June 22nd, 2011. Oi, Tinagi. This Week in Google is brought to you by Squarespace.com, the fast and easy way to create a high-quality website or blog. For a free trial and 30% off your new account for 3 months, go to Squarespace.com and use the offer code TWiG6. And by Netflix. Watch thousands of TV episodes and movies on your PC, Mac, iPad, iPhone, or TV instantly. All streamed directly to you, saving time, money, and hassle. For your free 30-day trial, go to netflix.com/twit. It's time for TWiG This Week in Google, our 100th episode, and let the party begin. Even Jeff Jarvis is wearing a silly hat. I could snap his hat like that.
Ow!
Ow! That hurt. I'm going to take that off now, Jeff, just so you can breathe. Also joining us, okay, so Jeff Jarvis is here. He's from Boston. But oh, and look, that's very nice of you. Matt Cutts is also here. He's got his special hat on. I don't know what that is. Looks like a corn
Little
chip.
birthday hat.
Oh, okay, that's good.
No, it's actually a devil's. It's a unicorn.
Devil horn. It's a unicorn
Right in
horn.
the middle.
There you go. Perfect.
Yeah, there you go.
Nice.
Matt from
You
Google.
are mythological, Matt. Yes.
He fights the Google spam and has been on the show many times before. And of course, Gina Trapani, who is the queen of the show and has her fez, and she is wearing it now very happily. Hello, everybody, and thanks to Eileen, our producer, we have Chipotle for all. So I'm just going to. Aren't you happy? I wish I could just push this right down the food tube to you. This is
Google hasn't made the food tube yet? What's with that?
Gina, you're the programmer. You're supposed to write it. I don't know. Is that
It's a
soft?
hardware
Tubes.
thing.
Why can't we push burritos over the wire?
Now, I have to
Matt?
ask a question of the Chipotle experts. So I believe this is what they call a burrito bowl. Do you open it this way or that way?
Oh,
That way.
That's a question. Yeah. Yeah, foil on top.
It's now a tossed burrito bowl.
It's a pineapple upside down burrito.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's a legitimate question.
Beware the bean juice, Leo. It's going to get all over.
The beet
Oh,
juice
yeah,
and the
'cause-
avocado, the guacamole.
No, the guacamole is in a separate vial.
Oh, good. That's good.
And I shouldn't be eating this because, frankly, they don't advertise on this show.
No, they
so
don't.
There's no real reason for us to support them in any way, shape, or
I
form.
went to a competitive burrito place today.
Thank you. Competitive Burrito Place are us. So today, the 100th episode. You know, I don't usually celebrate 100s because, frankly, this show's going to go to the thousands. We know that. Of course, none of us will be here for it except maybe the young Gina Trapani.
Oh, yeah.
The kid.
I figure we only have to do 99 more sets of 100 before I hit my 10,000 hours, and I'm actually good at it.
Ah, that's good. Well, you know, Gina wrote a great article.
Wonderful post.
I was just very flattered that you would even do that. So,
Well, you know, considering that I had no idea what I was doing when we started this, I had to write up a little something. I really learned a lot doing the show, and I so appreciate, Leo, you having me on, you know, inviting me into the TWiT family and giving me a chance to blather live on screen, which no one else has done before. It was a big risk. I really appreciate it. And I've learned so much from both of you.
I was, you know, to be honest, when we talked about doing this show, there were only it started, frankly, with how could we do a show with Gina?
Oh, yeah, right.
What could we do that would get Gina to be on our network? And then I don't know, was it just Gina? Or it might have been, what could we do to get Gina and Jeff together on our network? Because I wanted both of you. So let's be honest here. Really, it is my great privilege to have you two on. I want to say the both of you. But to have Gina Trapani write an article on, this is smarterware.org, Lessons from 99 Weeks of TWiG. And I agree with all of these. Actually, I'm kind of glad you codified these because I knew them.
Well, it's second nature to you, Leo. You've been doing it for so long that you don't even realize how good you are.
No, that's
what a
not
great
true.
setup you have.
But you say things like a live show is a better show. You're right.
Definitely.
And I don't know I didn't remember you accidentally saying blowjob, but you know, it is more fun, isn't it?
It's really fun, and thanks to all the people who are in the chat room who come and talk to us while we talk.
Yeah.
It's really cool to have an audience.
I think that's actually the challenge that I want to take on in the new studio. By the way, wait till you see it. We've just started moving stuff in, and it's amazing.
I saw your picture that you posted, and Sarah retweeted it. It looks amazing.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I'm kind of blown away at this point. I didn't expect this, but one of the things that I really want to focus on is how to get live interaction upgraded, because we have this great chat room and it's wonderful, but I'd love to have more interaction. So that's one of the things I really want to deal with, and we actually have some ideas.
You know, one thing I've always wanted to do, I'm trying to, first I want to say something too. Like Gina, I want to say thank you to both of you for including me and my long-winded blather in on this show. I cannot tell you, I'm a faker, I'm a poser, I'm here by chance.
Oh, yeah,
I am
right.
so, no, it's true. I don't know crap. You guys actually know stuff. But I absolutely love being here. And, you know, I tell people all the time that not only is Gina incredibly generous and brilliant and wonderful, but the great thing about you, Leo, is that you have the happy broadcast voice, but you are as nice as your voice.
Oh,
And that says a lot. And I can't tell you folks out there that the privilege it is to be with these guys each week. It really, truly is the highlight of my week. I love doing it. It killed me not to be here last week. And, you know, just being around Leo and watching Leo is amazing. The best testament that I have is that even with my king-sized ego, when people have recognized me on the street in Munich and in California and in New York and all over, and I'll think, oh, did you see me on TV? Did you read my book? No, I see you on TWiG. Lovely. Say hi to Leo. The power of Leo Laporte is absolutely incredible.
It's true. First time I get recognized too is TWiG. Had nothing to do with Lifehacker or books or anything. It was TWiG. It's amazing.
Wow. That is kind of amazing. Given the
so Leo, I also want to salute you because you really are remaking all of media. You are remaking and proving the internet can support the kinds of work you do. And so I know I join with all Twiggers, Twitters, and other alliterative signs to come that, you know, this is a tribute to you that you can make this work. And thank you for including me. And I know Gina believes the same.
Well, I didn't believe any of it until I saw the new studio. Now I'm starting to think maybe there is, this thing does have some legs.
Maybe you've got something
Maybe
here.
there is something going on that I...
So, you know, on Leo, on that, I've been trying to push broadcast people for years. I could imagine a wall of Twiggers, right, with their chat or something going on underneath that gives you the chance to be kind of a maestro calling on people from video screens.
Yes, that's what I want to do.
Yeah.
We're really, we have the technology now. We didn't, you know, really, this little room that we're in, and you've both been here. Matt, you've been here too, right? You kind of know how tiny it is. Uh-oh, where did Matt go? Did I push a button? Did I do something wrong? Oh. Go ahead, Matt, I'm sorry.
Sorry if I'm a little loud, yeah.
No, I screwed something up here.
No, I hadn't gotten to see the cottage, but I watched over on, I think, GigaOM, the video of the new studio, and it looks really amazing.
Yeah, we're excited. So, but the point being that this room was really kind of never intended to do all the things we're doing, and the new place will let us do this. I want to thank Tony and Eileen, Tony Wang, who edits this show and puts it out, and Eileen Rivera, who produces the show. They made a little video. Would you guys like to just watch a little teeny-weeny video?
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know what's on here. I haven't seen it. They didn't warn me. But they did make it, so I have to play it. That's not the one. Okay. I looked at the wrong one.
A blooper reel.
Yeah, really.
Yes.
Oh, TWiT 100, TWiG 100. I see. Okay. I see. Sorry. I played the wrong one. It's okay, because I don't know if we have audio either. So let me.
As always, Elaine fixed you.
Yes, she fixed me.
Why did I do that? Ever since you did that one to me once.
Eileen fixed me. Let's see what happens here. This is TWiG, a brand new show this week in Google. I'm Leo Laporte, and couldn't be happier at the panel we've assembled. For this first show, we're just going to have the kind of core members, but in time we'll add others, you know, on an ad hoc basis. Matt Cutts. First, let me introduce Gina Trapani. Some of you know from TWiT, and of course the founder of Lifehacker. She's at smarterware.org and one of the smartest people I know. Also, a developer who's written add-ons. She has a great Gmail add-on, Better Gmail.
Yep.
In fact, you have several Gmail add-ons.
Yep.
So she knows Google, and I presume is going to talk about Wave at some point because I want to know more about that.
Oh yes.
Also with us, both Gina and Jeff are authors, but Jeff's newest book is kind of apropos. What would Google do? Jeff Jarvis at BuzzMachine.com. So glad to have you on the show.
Honored to be here, Lee.
So
I didn't realize we were audio the first
Google,
time.
not just the Google the software, but Google the company, Google the trends, the stories, and I hope we can get some tips as well from Gina, especially on using Google better.
Who even puts a phone in the breast pocket of their, like, phones are for pockets at best.
Leo, on behalf of myself and the entire drinking public, I'd like to congratulate you on your 100th episode of This Week in Gin.
Aww.
100th episode of This Week in Grapes.
Oh, it's Gina.
Well, I got small penis jokes ignite airport meltdown. And it goes blank.
There you go.
Congratulations to Leo, Gina, and Jeff and the rest of the TWiG team on 100 episodes. Gosh, you guys don't look a day over 99.
That's Mitch Wagner,
I'm still
your
looking
friend.
forward to catching you guys every week to hear the latest news about Google, Facebook,
He listens
Twitter,
on a
the cloud,
boombox.
Glee, Chipotle, and how to pronounce Gina's last name, which, by the way, if she married a congressman who was recently in the news, would be Gina Wiener. I love it. Thank you. Bye.
I'm so glad I'm recording this.
I mean, it's just a feat of engineering right here. I mean, not to be a total Google fangirl. I mean, I am already. Sometimes I feel bad about being so far up one company's butt, but you know, this is a pretty good butt to be up because this is really amazing. I mean, this is like a
show title
feat of engineering.
Together we'll make your heart, 'cause I'm singing in the rain.
I have to tell you, I felt it was a little insensitive of you to have an 100th episode without myself or Matt Cutts on it. Was that? you invited Matt?
Greetings, Leo, Jeff, and Gina, and congratulations on your 100th episode. I've been impressed with how you guys have kept the topics fresh all this time, but also how you've overcome your competition. This month in Blackle, who could forget? This fortnight in Cool. This lunar cycle in Bing, which had a ton of marketing power behind it. This weekend in Yandex. This harvest season in Blacko. This Julian calendar in Wolfram Alpha, which y'all remember got tons of press coverage. And this CPU cycle in DuckDuckGo, which actually does have pretty cool keyboard shortcuts. Anyways, congratulations and keep a great thing going.
Kevin Purdy.
So it's kind of like a condom for Facebook.
And it does work on Chrome.
And it's a Chrome extension. I really didn't plan to say that, and I kind of regretting that I did.
Leo, it's Chris, your old pal. I just want to congratulate you on your 1000th show of This Week in Google. I mean, I remember when it was This Week in Alta Vista and This Week in Gopher. This Week in Gopher was before its time, really. And so I want to congratulate you for that, and congratulations for This Week in Yahoo, which became, This Week in Google, and it's been like that. I'm assuming you're looking to the future, though, and thinking of This Week in Blecko, or whatever that one is, or the math one with Mathematica in it. So be well, and I hope you have 1,000 more shows.
From 4 hours ago, Google Android, a little bit open source, quote, sort of like a partial circumcision.
Congratulations, Leo, Gina, and Jeff on the 100th TWiG this week in Glee. I always enjoy the show. I always listen to it. And I'm occasionally lucky enough to join you on it. But if not, I'll be sucking along with it playing through my headphones.
Hey, Leo, Gina, and Jeff. Happy 100th episode of This Week in Google, without which a couple of you told me we wouldn't be able to do any other shows on the network. You carry the rest of us on your backs.
It's true.
And for that, we thank you. And also the great content. You covered things like Chipotle and Glee. What's the other thing? Oh, right, Facebook.
Yeah.
And Google. No, thank you so much for doing a great show. Thanks for letting me host a couple of times. Here's to 100 more.
Tom Merritt. That's good. Whoa. Oh, dear. Oh, my goodness.
I shouldn't be
There's Chipotle everywhere.
That's why I love Twig.
I had no idea you guys were dancing that whole time behind me.
We lost. So cool. Eileen, thank you so much for putting that together.
Didn't she do a great job? And Tony Wang, too. Thank you. Really, really very grateful. That was really fun.
And Debona and Purdy and Mitch. Oh my God. So
and
cool.
Kevin Marks writing. I'm trying to think. I'm thinking it's a mobile bike repair company that he runs now. I don't know. Maybe Salesforce didn't work out and he's moved on. I don't know.
The chat room says he was in a tram.
A tram of what? I mean, there was a bunch of. That's the strangest thing I've ever seen.
How California to have more bikes than people?
Anyway, it's fun. I mean, thank you, Eileen, for doing that.
Thank you, Eileen.
And she brought me more
thanks,
Chipotle because now that we've cleaned up the last spill, I think it's time to get more Chipotle on the floor. Wow, Matt, thanks for putting up with that. And when you see.
I love Twig. So as long as the Love Fest is going on, I just want to say thank you so much for doing it. I think I discovered Twig around episode 4 or 5, and I think I have probably exercised to every single episode of Twig. Like, you guys just keep me company. So, and there's literally a group of people who fight spam manually, like literally above me, and they installed a projector so every Wednesday they could spam fight while they watched Twig. So it's just, you guys provide such an awesome, amazing service, and everybody loves it. So thanks very much.
I'm not sure I want to know that Googlers are watching us
Wow.
upstairs.
Hi, Googlers.
I guarantee they are.
And
I've been up in the office when they get the projector going, and they'll watch the first 10 or 15 minutes, and then they'll be spam fighting as they're listening and watching, and it's a lot of fun.
Well, wow. And of course, to our great audience, because we have a wonderful audience. This show Tom Merritt wasn't far off when he said this show does support the network. It's one of the handfuls of shows that really make a lot of money. And so, I shouldn't have said that. Now I have to pay these guys. And well, we'll get you some
burritos, Leo, in burritos.
No, it's been a very successful show out of the box, and I credit not merely the subject matter, but really more Gina and Jeff, because one of the things we've learned doing these shows is it's not so much the subject matter, it's the people who do the shows that make the shows work. And you guys have full of deep thoughts and funny, and it's just great. So thank you all for being here. Thank you for watching, everybody at home. And now we'll get to the news.
Group hug.
Group hug. Oh, we love you. Google is now at 1 billion uniques a month. I can't think. There's no other website anywhere near that.
1 billion.
Did you celebrate that, Matt? Was there a cake?
Not really. So we tend not to worry as much about what the metrics companies say, because different metric companies will say different things at different times. But in the early days, we would have a little crayon graph, and we would actually draw the traffic. And then when people came to visit, like when Al Gore came to visit, he would sign on the day that he came to visit.
That's so googly. So, I love that. Was it on a whiteboard or?
He put it on, it was almost like butcher paper. It was like 48 inches, and it was scrolled a long way, and it's still somewhere around the Googleplex hidden. I don't know exactly where it is.
I think
the infinite scroll.
Yeah.
Well, the obvious joke here is that Gore sign "You're welcome," but I won't put that.
This is what I created the internet for.
Actually, that billion is only just to the Google.com domains, right? And if you're watching YouTube videos elsewhere, if you're seeing AdSense elsewhere, none of that counts, right?
I guess not.
Yeah, and there's analytics, there's Google Toolbar, there's Google Public DNS, so there is a lot of data that flows through. But what I loved about the crayon graph is we kept having to scale it down by a factor of 10 over and over again.
You should have made it logarithmic in the first place. You wouldn't have had to worry about that. But who knew? So this is from ComScore, which I think is absolutely considered a reliable source. I think I don't know, but over the past year, according to ComScore, Google's unique visitors have increased 8.4% to just over 1 billion a month. That is number one. Microsoft number 2 with 905 million unique visitors. They were up 15%. Now this.
Well, where does that come from?
That's not Bing. I presume it's. Well, I don't know. I presume it's Microsoft.com.
Well, yeah, but I don't go to Microsoft sites.
Okay, this is why they have such a big number. If you install Windows and you never change the defaults, your homepage is Microsoft.com. And I would guess that 90% of Windows users, maybe not that high, but a large number of Windows users, that's when they open their Internet Explorer. Oh, look, there's Microsoft. Facebook up 30%, but still only 714 million uniques. Wait a minute. 714 million uniques a month.
Facebook. Yeah. Well, they have not updated their member number since 500 million.
But we now know it's well over 700. It would have to be.
Well, visitors wouldn't necessarily have to be members.
But who visits Facebook?
So
I think now more than you
public.
think because of fan pages and that kind of stuff.
Oh. Oh, well, that's interesting. Okay, I'd love to know that. Yahoo, and by the way, we were This Week in Yahoo for many years, 689 million, up 10%. Up 10%.
The internet is growing.
Yeah, that's for sure. So this is not the way analytics works or QuantCast works. This is a global measurement panel.
Yeah, so it's
a little weird.
It's Nielsen ratings.
Yeah, but it's 2 million users. It's a very large sample size. That's huge.
Google does know these numbers, and I like the early days of Google when they shared numbers like how many sites and how many users.
Yeah, Google should know exactly, right?
Of course they do. And I never understood, I'm not going to make Matt answer this question, but I never understood why they stopped. I think the transparency about that was great, and I wish they'd continue with that. You know, at some point, Facebook updates its stats to some level. All the sites do to some extent. YouTube tells us how many minutes of video are on every nanosecond. But I wish that Google would give us kind of this, because it knows the scale of the internet better than anybody else.
Is that number scary?
That's exactly why. I'm sure it is.
That's why. It would be a little scary because everyone would know that Google's the only one who really has that number, and it's going to be an astronomical number.
It's
and
bigger than a billion.
Out. It's bigger than a billion.
Yes.
Yeah. Sorry to say creep, Jeff, but it might. I don't know. Just a guess.
No, I think you hit the nail on the head, Gina.
Yeah.
Well, and I think that Marissa Meyer has released at least a couple stats. One was that we get over 1 billion searches a day, which, that's a pretty nice big number to reveal. And then I think she had said something like we get over 1 billion users each week coming to Google. So, it depends on how you count people, whether you count by cookies or whether you try to do some other methodology. But, if you think about it, a large fraction of the internet likes to search on Google. So that's not a huge surprise.
Yeah, but uniques is a kind of a special number. For instance, we say 714 million uniques. That means just for people who don't know, I'm sure everybody does, but that's individuals. That's like me plus 713,999,999 other people. I mean, it's individuals. So when you say 714 million for Facebook or 1 billion for Google, I mean, how many internet users are there total? Not a few billion. So
2 is the usual number,
2.
right?
So that means half of everybody who has access to the internet uses Google at least once a month.
That doesn't surprise me.
That's
at all.
the creepy.
No, not at all.
Right? And it's not creepy. It's just merely that I think that my guess is you're absolutely right, Gina. And it's not so much even just creepiness. It's Google rightly, I think, doesn't want people to think about how much power they wield, because that's scary to people. Why are you laughing?
On the bright
Matt?
side, I'm laughing because on the bright side, if anybody doesn't like Google, there's no lock-in, right? You can leave anytime you want. You can go to Bing, you can go to Blecko, you can go to DuckDuckGo, or any of the other sites mentioned in that promo. So, the only reason people come back to Google is if we have good results. So,
is there really a website, a search engine, DuckDuckGo?
Yeah. In fact, yes, they've made a big deal this week about how they don't do personalization, because there was a book called The Filter Bubble, and they're saying you won't get the filter bubble when you're at DuckDuckGo. And I support that. It's actually a one-person search engine. It's one guy, Gabriel Weinberg, and I love it when people try different search engines and see what works for them.
So how should I test this? I guess I'll do
Gina Trapani.
Yeah, we'll do we'll do the ego search, but we won't do me. We'll do Gina. All right.
I'm
Gina,
afraid that my dabbling in the porn websites back in the day is going to be revealed by DuckDuckGo.
Oh, look, I like this. They've got the Wikipedia. They've got the picture.
Good. Yeah.
They've got an interesting ad. Find Gina Trapani. Locate Gina Trapani. 1 minute to search. Public records now. I don't like that.
Oh, goody.
I mean, what, okay, yeah, you don't track me, but then you have an ad for somebody who does. That's good.
Yeah.
Official site. That's kind of interesting. The badge here. Lifehacker. They knew that. Work smart at Fast Company.
Not bad.
Twitter. Smarterware. This is pretty canonical.
Not too bad. I mean, it lists my name site, which is kind of my official site first, and and I think Wikipedia is also a really good first result as well. These are good results for me.
But would you rather they had smarterware than GinaTrapani.org?
No. I'd want my name site, GinaTrapani.org, for sure. It's top, and then I'd want smarterware next because I write on that more. I haven't done any stuff at Fast Company in a while or Lifehacker really, but for the most part, these are pretty good results.
Kind of like this. If you misspell my name, it says it gives the Leo Laporte results and says, "Did you mean Leo Laporte?" So that's googly. Then it's got the Wikipedia entry, official site, Tech TV, people from Sonoma County. Search Leo for free and find email address. That's People Smart. Okay.
I wonder how they determine this official site.
Yeah. Well,
I think it's Wikipedia.
Okay.
Okay.
Because Wikipedia will often have the phrase that says official site or official homepage. So my guess is Gabriel's just sort of mining Wikipedia.
So
that makes
how
sense.
would you make a really good point, Matt, which is there's no barrier. Well, there is a barrier to entry, but there's no barrier to changing.
To exit.
To exit.
Yeah. Right.
It's kind of interesting, though, that one guy could compete with Google.
Well, he does. Historically, he also used Yahoo Boss and Bing as sort of fallbacks for extra stuff. So it wasn't 100% entirely his corpus, but it is the case that think about Bleco. That's something like 27 people, and they're able to crawl several billion documents. So the web is out there for people who want to index it and try to make a better search engine. And I'm personally glad that people haven't given up on trying to do better than Google.
Really? You feel like that challenge is good for Google?
Oh, yeah. Competition's good. It keeps us on our toes. Nobody wants to be complacent. So, DuckDuckGo takes a little more of a privacy-centric, so we won't personalize and we'll anonymize our logs, and Bleco is more towards slash tags, so they're going to remove all the spam by hand and that sort of thing. And everybody's got a different philosophy and let users pick what they like the best. And then if something starts to thrive, then, that's good for everybody.
Well, then you'll be really happy about this story. Bing grabs market share from Google. Compete, and I don't actually pay much attention to compared to, say, Quantcast or ComScore, because as last time I checked, they were very much reliant on the tool and Ask toolbar, right? They found that Google has lost close to 16% of its market share. No. I don't buy this. And Microsoft grew by 75%.
Well, plus last I checked, Google was in the 60s, the mid 60s in the U.S. anyway, and that says that it was down from like 79 a year, 73 in a year.
Yeah.
One of those is wrong.
I'm trying to remember, but at least last time I checked Compete, it was not using. The analytics were based on a toolbar. Was it the Ask toolbar? I can't remember. It couldn't be the Ask toolbar anymore. But
normally metrics sort of break down into three broad genres. One is consumer panels, so people install software to watch them, and sometimes those users aren't quite as savvy because they'll do things like win a sweepstakes if you install this software to watch you.
That's ComScore. That's how ComScore works. Yeah.
Yeah, and then there's often people who buy ISP traffic, so they actually watch where people go according to the ISPs. And then the third type is looking at where people land in terms of referrer stats, so stat counter and net applications. Those kind of people look at, install something like Google Analytics and then see how often people show up via Bing or Google or Bleco or something like that.
Here's somebody aggregated. ComScore said Google market share grew. Yahoo held steady. Bing held steady. Ask dropped. Compete said Google dropped, Bing dropped, Yahoo grew, Ask dropped, AOL held steady. Hitwise says, well, I don't know if it's growth or not, but Google's 67%, Bing 13.8. So actually, it looks like based on the aggregate, that to Compete is kind of is out of the range of the rest of them. So that seems like a little bit of a strange result. Yeah, you don't have to say anything, Matt. You could just nod your head like that.
It depends. It depends on what you know.
Yes.
There's lies, damn lies.
You don't need to say anything. You don't need to say anything. I'm sorry, Eileen. Well, I don't know why they're hearing a ringing sound. I'm not hearing. Are you hearing a ringing sound?
I'm getting a little bit of a high-pitched
You
pitch
are?
sound. I am. Or do you guys hear it? Oh, not right now.
Okay, well, we'll
You
fix
see
that
better?
in post.
I get that in my head all the time. So
It's tinnitus or something in the studio. I don't know what's going on.
exactly. At least now I know why I'm hearing voices in my head. They're you.
That's us. That's why we're talking. There is, we should say that we have changed the studio operation preparatory. It's as John Salanina, our studio engineer, says, the beginning of the end. We've started to tear pieces and bits out of the cottage to put them in the new place. And the audio, the normally very high-quality audio system we use from Telos, is not here anymore. And so you may get a little more noise and weirdness. I think that would only be on the live stream. I think our audio is fine on the downloads.
When do we start producing from over there?
Hell if I know.
Oh, okay.
I'm assuming that things will go horribly wrong. And Gina, you're a programmer. That's a safe bet, right? Yeah.
Plan for failure, yes.
Yes.
Expect failure, and then you'll be surprised when there isn't.
Yes.
Happily surprised.
So I'm saying roughly a month. I think our first show will probably be either July 17th or 24th from there. Because I want to make our first show be This Week in Tech, the big shoe. Not that this isn't a big show.
No, it's the granddaddy.
Yeah. And so I think, and it happens to work well with our schedule. I have an hour between shows. I can walk down and we can do that. But whether it'll be it could even be the 10th. Hey, who knows? It could be the 3rd. I don't know. So it'll be the 3rd, the 10th, the 17th, the 24th, or sometime in September. The problem is, we've got everything. Everything's over there. And we've got 30 cameras and we've got all the lights and we're building the camera mounts. Those aren't quite done yet, but those will be happening pretty fast. But then you have to kind of set them up and see if it works. And I'm just assuming that it will not work. It's like a program, right, Gina? You write the code, then you run it, and then you debug. And we don't know how much debugging will be involved.
Yes, that is always the X factor, right?
We're assuming. Well, and this is the case where we're, in fact, writing the entire program before running it even once. It's kind of a mistake.
Let's talk about building small modules and unit tests around them.
Unit testing.
Unit testing for your studio setup.
Is there anything like unit testing in analog hardware? I guess there is. That's why we took the audio out of here, because we want to get it over there and get it set up. So I guess it is. Google to America. This is Malik's headline. Get online. Love the gigabit in Kansas City. I think didn't Google recently announce they're not only going to do it in Kansas City, they're going to do it where else was it? Next door, right?
Yeah, Kansas City, Kansas, and then Kansas City, Missouri, I think.
Yeah, that's cool. Poor old Topeka. Too bad. Friday morning, Domain Name Wire, which is a blog that monitors domain name registrations, reported that Google has registered more than 100 domains like Alaska, get online, get Alaska online, get online Alaska. For other states too, Alabama, Colorado, North Dakota, South Dakota, Arkansas, Arizona, and so on. It even grabbed getamericaonline.com. Might have been a little mistake there. I don't know if they'll be able to use that one, or if they want to use that one, to be honest. What is going on? Matt Cutts, do you know?
This one I don't know about. I have no idea whether somebody's planning fiber-related stuff. I'm doing a little who is action on my own.
It's kind of interesting idea that maybe Google might be. I would lobby for this. I lobbied for when the 700 megahertz spectrum was available. I wanted Google to buy it and kind of do open mobile access. I would love to see Google get in the internet provider game and really stick it to these companies like Comcast and Time Warner and all the other ones who are just doing such a lousy job. Verizon.
There's one problem, Leo.
What's that?
Verizon.
Why is that a problem?
Because that's the devil's deal. I mean, not to beat up on Google, but that's the devil's deal. Is that I think Google was going to be the highest quality voice for the open internet, but it has to do business with evil telcos.
Because Verizon, well, they did that.
Verizon, AT&T, but they did that internet schminternet deal.
Right.
Go back to that. I saw Yochai Benkler in at Paris And he got all upset. He was finally going to get his iPhone on Verizon, and then the deal was done, so now he has an Android.
Oh, interesting.
I mean, sorry, he's going to get an Android and he got an iPhone instead.
Really?
Yeah, so I think that's the problem. Is that, yes, Google was to my mind the best hope for the neutral internet because it could provide that kind of competition. The next fear, the next thing Google has fought for, which will help us, is white space. Becoming, as they say, Wi-Fi on steroids. That would be exactly what you're saying. That'd be great. That'd create competition. Competition alone, I think, will solve this. But I've heard rumblings. People say it wouldn't happen, but that Congress is going to go after that and stop the white space. And they're going to sell that bandwidth instead of making it unlicensed.
That's a shame. That's too bad.
That would be a crime.
Yeah.
Well, it seems like a lot of the time you've got, something like Chrome was really useful because it showed how much better a web browsing experience could be. And now you see things like Firefox releasing faster, and IE9 is a lot more standards compliant, and browsers as a whole are a lot faster. So one way you could view the Kansas City fiber deployment is just trying out some of these ideas to make, to test whether it is possible to deploy for less.
Improvement by example.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think
there's that one
that's
town in California.
Idea.
Isn't there a town in California?
Yeah.
Did you have that on here?
In fact, it's our internet service provider, SonicNet, that's doing it.
Wow.
It's Sebastopol, where oddly enough, O'Reilly and Food Camp are. Coincidence? I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But they're going to. It's not a lot of homes. It's several hundred homes they're going to wire for gigabit. Sonic is actually, I think, doing the Google, running the Google back end in Kansas as well. So they have a lot of experience with gigabit installs, and they're actually we use a number of internet service providers here for bandwidth. We have 4 or 5 bandwidth providers, but going into the new place, we're gonna we've got I love this, the 35 megabit pipe from SonicNet. So I'm pretty excited. We couldn't get fiber. There's no fiber in there, but it's the fastest.
Really?
Yeah, it's just it's Petaluma, for crying out loud. I mean, we're lucky it's not chicken internet.
Yeah.
But at least we got copper. We got copper in there. Oh, we don't. Oh, let me tell you, because we want to have 2 providers for redundancy, so we wanted to have cable modems in here from Comcast, and it turns out that the building is so old, it's not wired for cable. In order to get cable in there, we've got to go through the hairdressing salon next door, and they don't want us to do it.
No.
No, those Comcast people are messy. They leave footprints in the hall. I don't know. Why wouldn't you?
Well, didn't Sebastopol decide not to do free Wi-Fi because people were worried it might cause cancer or something like that?
Yes, that's right.
Oh, that's so California.
It'd radiate our heads.
Yeah, we're very earth. Sebastopol is where the hippies went. When they left Santa Cruz, they all went to Sebastopol.
Led by Tim.
Yeah, led by Tim. Tim is a hippie.
I love you, Tim.
Hey, credit to Google for doing this. As you know, Google keeps a database of malware sites, and you can check the database in your Webmaster Tools, but they'll also put a warning up if there's malware on a site. First of all, I'm going to mea culpa here. Our site was hacked. I think it was just our chat page. We have, and I don't know all the details yet because our sysadmins are working on it. But the way we learned is a number of our chatters said, "Hey, I'm getting a warning in Chrome that this site has malware on it." And at first I said, that's got to be a false positive, because remember there was a false positive incident some months ago. And I said, our site would never be hacked. First of all, there ain't nothing on there. Well, it turns out there was a line injected into our jQuery library on one of the 3 servers that runs the chat. And Bear found it. Bear removed it. And we're looking at trying to figure out how it got stuck in there. But thank you, Google. They're doing the same thing with out-of-date WordPress installs. Apparently, there are 47 million WordPress deployments out there, many of them running old. You know about this, old versions. Very old.
Yeah. In fact, the WordPress guys were really nice. They made an API where you could check which versions were insecure versus the latest. And unfortunately, the reason why a lot of, well, of course, WordPress is updated for security for features, but if you look at the older versions of WordPress, pretty much every single one of them is insecure. So at first we were like, well, we don't want to, pick on WordPress. You guys do a fantastic job in general. And they were actually saying they only want to support the last 2 or 3 versions of WordPress. So they want people to upgrade. So if you remember a little while ago, I said there are people right above me who listen and watch TWiG while at work. Actually, it was one of those guys that that made this message. So,
well, a word to them. Thank you. I actually run WordPress. Part of the reason I still run WordPress instead of Squarespace is on my personal blog is because for exactly this reason. And I have to say, you log into WordPress and it seems like every week there's a security update.
Yeah.
Actually, that speaks to your blog post, and you and Mitch were having a little back and forth on this, Gina.
We were.
I loved it. Why not Tumblr?
Tumblr, yeah. Tumblr is a really cool blogging kind of social network. And so my blog was going kind of fallow. I wasn't writing as much. WordPress was out of date. My plugins were out of date. I wanted to do things that I couldn't, and I needed to spend time hacking. So I kind of had this moment where I was like, I'm just going to switch to something that's super easy so I can just write. And I looked at Tumblr to do it, and I really I kind of realized that there's this there's a difference between social networks and publishing tools. And Tumblr really kind of straddles that fence. But it's not easy to import your existing content at Tumblr, which is something that's really important to me. I mean, I've been blogging for 10 years in different sites, and I have forgotten more than I know. Like, I use Google as like my memory now. Like, I Google stuff and I find posts that I wrote on Lifehacker in 2006. I was like, oh yeah, I remember I did know how to do that, and this is how to do it. So archiving and permalinks is really important to me, and so I decided not to use Tumblr. It's hard. I use WordPress, and the updating is an issue, and I've had to do kind of, I'm a programmer, so of course I want everything to be exactly the way I want it. So of course I was, inside WordPress hacking its, the PHP innards, and I might just evaluate Squarespace. It sounds like Squarespace kind of gives you that the luxury of being hosted and not having to deal with updates, but also is a true blogging tool, and that there's permalinks and import and export, and you can kind of retain your permalinks over time. I just want to be able to have my own domain and move my content, from provider to provider, system to system, without.
I am with you 100%, Gina. That's why I still run That's the other reason I still run a WordPress blog. Is I got scared from Twitter. I had Pounce. I had all these sites where I'd been putting content up, and my last blog was on Vox, which I loved. What a great platform Vox was.
Yep.
But then they went away. And so I had to export everything it's run by the Six Apart people, the movable type people, and they decided not to do it anymore. And that was a wake-up call.
That's the thing. I think I've come to this place where it's like social networks like Facebook and Twitter and Tumblr and Vox to some degree are like really good ways to share content and get it to your friends instantly and immediately. But I don't know that they're the best place to park content that you want to keep. And that you want to refer to. It's like, are you doing this for now or for later? So I tweet stuff all the time, throw away stuff that I know is going to kind of fall away into Twitter's archives. I mean, I'm working on ThinkUp, obviously, to sort of combat this problem, but that's not a solution for everyone. But if I want to write down an idea and articulate an idea that's important that I'm going to want to refer back to later, which I do all the time with my archives over the past 10 years of blogging, I'm going to put it on my blog. So I just kind of buckled down and decided to get my blog to a place where I want it to be, and just put in the work to future-proof my work, because it's my work, and I feel like the things you put out on the internet, things that you write and things that you say, like, that's who you are online, and that's just important to me. And I don't trust a social network that doesn't treat your content the same way.
I agree.
To put it there. But Mitch's argument was a really good one, which is that social networks give you the audience instantly.
That's where the people are, so you do quick.
Right.
And so this is 2007. I had this epiphany, and I still use Tumblr. I have a Tumblr blog. You do too, Gina.
Yeah, I do.
But it's for ephemera.
Yeah, it's for, hey, look at this cute thing.
I don't consider anything that I put on Tumblr to be permanent. I realize that at any moment it could go away.
Right, and this is nothing against Tumblr specifically. It's just in general, right? Any kind of hosted service that doesn't have easy import and export, that you can't, to use Google's terms, liberate your data from.
Right. Fitz was at Foo Camp, and he's just, in fact, I think they bought a brick, an 8x8 brick with the Data Liberation Front logo on it.
I love that guy.
Isn't that awesome?
Yeah.
So that's exactly the right attitude. Nevertheless, there is something to hosting your own content. Now, let's be honest. You could screw up a lot. You're more likely to screw up your own content. Maybe not you, Gina. Me, I'm much more likely to screw up my database and lose everything on a server that I'm running.
Definitely.
Than Tumblr is.
Right, but like a service like Squarespace, from what I understand, and WordPress.com, those are hosted services, but you can map your domain to them, you can import your data, and then you can export your data. It's sort of like, I use Gmail, right? But I I know that I can, but I use Gmail for my domain. So my email address is never going to change. I could switch providers and get my mail out of Gmail and move if I wanted to. And that's kind of how I evaluate a service, whether or not it's worth using. Can I move in the future if I wanted to or needed to?
Isn't this the model where Backupify has been going? That it just becomes a way to back up all your stuff someplace?
Yeah, I love Backupify, and I'm using it. I was, I started using it when they were free, and they said it'll be free forever. So I back up everything through Backupify. But go ahead.
And I love Backupify. I use it too, but it really seems like you want the convenience of the cloud, but you really want to be able to get your own data easily, and not just like make it possible to export your data, but like have a copy by default. So if some things are down, you're not hosed.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, Matt, you're the search engine guy. So I've been blogging for years and years, and I've got thousands and thousands of posts with permalinks on Lifehacker and on my personal site. And over time, I like to build on ideas. So I'll have kind of a little bit of an idea, and then if a year later, write about it and link back. You do the same on your blog. And I don't write for SEO, but I do. I think that a post kind of becomes more important over time as it ages and more conversations kind of surround it. And that permalink and having that sort of that time kind of in the index and out on the internet really, become something more than it is. And that can never really happen with a tweet or with a Facebook status update.
Right. What about this compromise? Because this is the compromise I ended up using. So I host my own blog, but I use JSKit Echo, or you could use Discuss. I use and this scares me a little bit, hosted commenting system. Mm-hmm. So the comments are on their system, but they're pulling from Twitter, Facebook. They use Facebook Connect, Twitter. It's easier for me. I don't have to know all those technologies, although they're not that hard to implement. So that I have now my canonical post, which I own, permalink permanent, and then a very social commenting system, which pulls from everywhere, not just from my own blog. Is that a good compromise? Maybe Mitch might accept that.
Yeah, I mean, I think that interplay between publishing content in a place, but then also broadcasting out to these places, which make sharing really easy, is really the compromise. And Tumblr does that really well. You can write a long blog post on Tumblr, and then it gets shared instantly, and it kind of removes that step of having to do the broadcasting part. I just don't want to keep my stuff there until they have an export tool. And I heard from a Tumblr engineer they're building one, and I feel bad picking on Tumblr. I just happen to be sort of evaluating it as a solution for me.
They're the big guy right now. They're rapidly.
They're doing really well.
Didn't we see some report that there's more page views than WordPress?
I think they're getting close. Yeah. Oh. Matt, you had something to say?
Oh, just talking about client-side comments.
Yes.
It's really tricky because comments are a bear. I usually pre-moderate mine to keep spam out and to keep out, griefers and stuff like that. And it's a real hassle if you have to approve every single comment yourself.
Yes.
So I would prefer to go with, the Discuss or the JS Echo kind of stuff. But since it runs on the client, in JavaScript, that's really hard for search engines to index. And we're making progress, but we're not there yet.
But of course, you index some of the sources for it. So you index Twitter and you index Facebook. Oh, do you?
Right.
Actually, you probably don't index Facebook.
Well, we do get fan pages, so we don't get everything
Personal
from
pages
Facebook.
You don't get.
But if a page is publicly visible, if it's not roboted out, then we can crawl it. So if you make your Facebook page public, then it's possible we might see it.
I do make my Facebook page public, but not all my commenters do. Obviously, in fact, probably the majority don't.
Yeah.
We're going to take a break. This is actually a good time to do a Squarespace ad. What do you think? Just a coinky-dink. But it does raise an interesting issue. If you are doing a website, it makes sense if you're going to do a website to do something that's robust, that you control the content on. But at the same time, you kind of want to do a website that's easy, because if you have to spend a lot of time maintaining it, that's a pain. Squarespace actually, I think, does kind of cut down the middle perfectly on this. First of all, it's hosted. So in fact, what you get with Squarespace.com is hosting plus a content management system that's always up to date, because they're keeping it up to date. It's their data. It's their database of the code. So that's a nice thing. In fact, they're about to go to Squarespace 6, and when that happens, it'll happen automatically. You won't have to do anything about it. But they give you full control of your data, and this, I think they were smart. They were wise to understand that this is an issue for all of us. So they have blog import and, I should say, export that keeps.
This is important. This is what I was. This would be like the Gmail of blogs, right? This is what you have to. You have to be able to get data in and get data out easily.
You're never trapped. And the permalinks are preserved. Images, tags, text, authors, even comments, and they actually have a very nice commenting system, are fully preserved. All SEO is preserved. Search is preserved. That means, your Google index isn't going to change. So I guess, Matt, I'll defer to you if that's not the case. But I think this is really a great solution for people who want the best of both worlds. Hosting plus hosted software. And boy, do they have some great tools. The iPhone, iPad app, the templates that aren't templated, that just every site looks gorgeous. Very easy posting from the web page as well. Incredible stats information. Integration of social media that's as simple as point and click. They do the SEO automatically. They do all the Google approved things like sitemaps to make it, completely Googleable. I think Squarespace has it down. Now, here's the deal. You could try it free. Everybody can do this. Just go to squarespace.com, click the big green button. You don't need a credit card or anything. Just the name of your site, a password, and your email address. And you're there. You're doing it for 15 days free. You have full access to the entire Squarespace tool set, including the import-export tool. Then if you decide to sign up, here's the pricing. And you can get it monthly. But the longer you sign up for, the lower the price. And as little as $10 a month. And if you use the offer code TWiG6 when you sign up, TWiG, the number 6, all one word when you sign up, 30% off for the first 3 months. So you get a really good discount for you to try it out. I just think Squarespace is fantastic, and I want you to give it a try. Squarespace.com. Use the offer code TWiG6 if you decide to buy. I think they've nailed it. It's halfway between Tumblr and your own blog.
Yeah,
and I think that's kind of what you want. Well, so not everybody, obviously, but some people, that's what they want. So you decided, Gina, just to keep your own blog, host your own blog, and
I had already invested so much time in the theme and the plugins that I decided to stick with WordPress and just just suck it up and update.
What are you using? Expression Engine or WordPress?
Yeah, WordPress.org. Yeah, on my own host. This is the update thing is a problem. It's something that keeps me awake. I'm building ThinkUp. That's an installable PHP app. It's got updates, and it stinks. It's just kind of the way of, the way it is. There are updates, but it's not for everyone.
First thing I asked our sysadmins when they said that there'd been a hack on the site was, is it my fault?
Yeah.
And they said, no, Leo, we actually isolated your WordPress, so it has no access to any other server.
Because you have a smart sysadmin.
I said that was a good idea. But I check every day. But, sometimes it'll be a couple of days. And a lot of those WordPress upgrades are like critical security flaw. They're widely known. It's easy to Google to find a WordPress blog. I mean, you can see as you said, Matt, they've got an API to see what version it is. So you can really easily see whether you're, if you're looking for easily violatable blogs, you can find them. Hey, let's talk about the filter bubble. You haven't been here, Matt, since we talked about it. You should know that Gina and Jeff and I both have completely dismissed the notion of a filter bubble. We like search personalization.
Yeah.
And this is you're fairly involved, I would guess, in this.
Yeah, it was funny because Eli gave a talk at TED about his book.
Eli Pariser, who wrote this book.
Right, and it's called The Filter Bubble, and it is an interesting read. So if you're interested in search, you might enjoy it quite a bit. But it was frustrating because he gave the talk before the book was available, so we had to only go by the talk. And he was saying things like, there's 57 different personalization factors, and that sounded like kind of a random, semi-legitimate number. And I think Jeff had said before on an earlier show, like, you've never had as much choice as you have with the internet right now. And I sort of feel like that's the case. I'm sensitive to the example of, like, if you only click on links that your liberal friends share on Facebook, then you eventually only start to see liberal type stuff. But certainly at Google, we do actually have algorithms that think about diversity. And so, for example, you might limit or cap the number of results you see from one site so that you see more results from other places. So, even Google News, when it started, one of the big advantages was to surface not only, Reuters or AP, but Pravda or Xinhua, so we wanted to bring in a diversity of viewpoints. So it's possible that personalization can have some minor effect, but overall, it's usually a much greater win. It's really helping the relevance.
Yeah, and
the more I thought about it, Leo, the more I think that perspective is with the same as Nick Carr and Andrew Keene and folks like that. It's
the neo-Luddites, we'll call them.
Well, no, it's authoritarian. They want authority. The irony is that I think we're finally freed from having just Bill Keller tell us what happened in the world today by the internet, and they want to go back to that. Right. So even Pariser almost says that Google should take responsibility for deciding what we get to give us more, and I want the opposite. I don't want that at all. I got in pockets of trouble or praise for questioning the article as the atomic unit of news.
I loved that, by the way.
I didn't think it was a big deal at all, but some people got really mad about it. And as I thought about it, watch out, warning, Gutenberg alert. Whoop, 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 whoop.
I love the phrase Gutenberg parenthesis, by the way.
Exactly. And I think what's happened is that we had a way to, as I've said before, cognate the world and put it into boxes and know the beginning and end and know there was authority and know who did it. And the scarcity was comforting. It put a border around the world. And the internet gives us abundance, and abundance is unsettling. And it changes how we view the world. So I think this whole filter bubble debate is part of the same thing. It's saying that, we can get anything from anywhere now. And where I'll take help in filtering that, which is what Matt's saying, I think others say, no, I don't want algorithms to help because that seems inhuman. I want, professional editors to help still. And it's really an authoritarian, somewhat elitist view, I think.
Well, and what I thought was really interesting is I was sort of having a discussion with people on Hacker News about it, and one guy said, I don't want the best results for me, I want the best results, period. I just want the unfiltered results, the monolithic. Yeah. And the fact is, results for someone in China who speaks Chinese are going to be different than German-speaking users, is going to be different than an expert. And so I thought that was, there is no one ideal, objectively true, correct set of results. It's always
that's exactly the prejudice of mass media, right? That precisely brings it out.
Right. This illusion,
that was the myth.
This illusion that you could have the canonical search result.
Right.
Right. And the beauty of it is that if you go down to the bottom of the search results page, if your results have been personalized, there will be a link that says View Customizations. You can click on it, and it will tell you why they were customized, and then it'll have a link to run the search again without personalization. And a few people are like, well, why'd you put it at the bottom of the search results? And the answer is we started at the top, and really no one cared or ever clicked on that link. And so if it doesn't earn its click-through, then things would tend to be lower on the page. But if we haven't personalized a set of search results, then there's no View Customizations link down at the bottom of the
cool.
page.
I didn't
know it either. I thought it was so neat when you compared that with doing it in incognito. Of course, now, Leo, your porn results are going to come up.
Actually, they did. I was searching, as you might have noticed, for gay rights. But the reason I was searching for gay rights...
Oh, boy.
What a smooth transition, boss. This is why you are the master.
Segue. I actually use Google search results for my segues. How about that? How many people could say that? First of all, this is Gay Rights Month, right? Is
Pride
that right?
Month, baby.
GBLT month.
Yes.
But I'm bummed because...
GBLT, GLBT, which is it?
GLBT, generally. But
gotcha.
Sometimes I prefer bisexuality. I just...
And you have the right to do that, Leo.
I don't use the...
Leo, I like lesbians better myself.
Danger.
What is the long... There's a long acronym that includes questioning and all of that stuff. The GBLT, QSTCZE.
Yeah, there's a long one. Usually Q is pretty umbrella,
Q.
for allies and...
Q. We'll use Q.
Q, yeah.
So the reason I search for it is because you're supposed to get a rainbow on the results. And I think that once again, because I've turned on, I have the voice search turned on, that I've turned on the labs. Do you get this? See, there's supposed to be according to Google, the Google operating system blog, when you search for gay, do you get this? You get a rainbow.
If I do it in Safari, I get it, and if I do it in Chrome, I don't.
Oh, Chrome turned it off.
If you just search for gay, I think it works for Stonewall. Yeah.
I just think that's really neat.
It's basically it's like a doodle, except for the people who ask for it.
For search results.
Yeah.
I just think that's really cool.
It's a nice touch.
Has that happened before? Has Google done that before, where they would change the search interface based on the result?
We have in some instances. So sometimes for Easter we make the Google at the bottom be little Easter eggs. But I remember for some of the Christmas holidays, so Kwanzaa and Christmas, we'll actually have like little Christmas trees or lights down the right hand side. And I think we might. I don't remember if we did a Festivus one.
We have an aluminum pole.
Or something like that, yeah.
This one was more subtle. This is a couple of years ago. If you searched for gay, you'd get a rainbow, which every website used to have. I used to have these on my websites, these gray rainbow gradient bars.
Yes.
That kind of looks like just a Google branding.
It's very subtle that you wouldn't necessarily notice that, but that's
the thing about Pride Month is that there isn't like one day that's Pride Day. Like there are Pride celebrations on different weekends throughout the month. So like it's not like Google could do a doodle on a given day. I mean, I guess they could, but this seemed like an interesting way to do the doodle. It's like you're asking for information about this thing, and it's a celebratory month. So this is kind of a neat little subtle thing to do versus doing one big doodle on the last Sunday of the month or something.
Yeah, that's neat. So,
it made me happy, obviously.
So Street View has been banned in Bangalore. Soon we're going to call it Blurgalore. What's the story, Jeff Jarvis?
Well, I think the argument here is there are sensitive places, but they're always sensitive. They're just photos. It's
from the street.
In all these cases, ask the analog question: can you go take a picture of this thing on your own and put it up? Yes. The scale difference, sure. Same with face recognition. Can you go and take a picture of somebody and put it online and somebody will recognize who that is? Yes. So when we automate it, what makes it so evil?
We even have an acronym, or at least I have one at Google, that's Tinagi, which is, this is not a Google issue, right? Because people could stand on the street and take the pictures. So
yeah,
that's good. I like it, Tinagi.
But anything Google does becomes a Google issue, and it spreads out in other ways. I saw, oh crap, I'm going to forget his name now. I just gave a talk on the way up here at Pitney Bowes. I'm in postal mode.
Really? Pitney Bowes?
Yeah.
They're still
Pitney
in
Bowes,
business.
yeah. I did this postal thing last week. I did Pitney Bowes today, and the guy following me is, I'm so embarrassed I can't remember his name, wrote the book about forgetting. Long German name. Anyway.
You forgot.
So, I forgot. Because I forget. Yes, exactly.
Yeah, we know it's not Habermas. You wouldn't forget him.
No, I wouldn't forget that. Anyway, or Gutenberg. The way he put it was interesting to me. He showed the first home pixelated in Germany, and he said that was an extension of PII. That PII wasn't personally identifiable information, wasn't any longer just your name or your social security number, that people were considering the view of their home to be personally identifiable information.
Oh, please.
I get what he was saying, and that yes, logically that was their extension of the view, but it's a wrong view.
Is it the issue that Google makes money on it? I mean, it can't be a privacy issue, because if you look at the back of my head when I'm walking down the street, I mean, it's in public. So it can't be a privacy issue. It has to be something like it's a commercial enterprise using
I
mine.
hear that all the time in Germany. There's a lot of that. They make money on me.
Right.
Well, so does a newspaper selling you to advertisers.
Right.
And I think there's anti-Americanism in here, too, not to seem...
No, I'm sure that's the case.
Worst jingoistic, but yeah.
We deserve it. We've earned it. We come by it honestly. Anyway, so don't. I guess they suspended the Street View cars. They're not. I finally saw a Street View car driving down the road.
Cool.
Is it your first time?
Yeah.
That's weird. You're so close to the Bay Area.
Yeah.
I mean, you're in the Bay
You'd
Area.
think they'd be everywhere all the time.
I feel like this is the kind of, it's the cassette deck problem, right? It's like you used to be able to like pop a cassette, the tape in, and hit record songs off of the radio, and it wasn't a big deal until file sharing became really easy. It's like the technology to distribute images. You know, people could take pictures of your house all the time, but you didn't know.
Well, that makes sense.
But now Google does it, and you can see that they are, and it makes and the tech makes it really easy to do this thing that everybody could always do before, but just was a lot of work, and now suddenly it's kind of an issue.
That makes a lot of sense.
So it seems more just like, I know people took pictures of my house before, but I didn't know. But
Because
now
it was their
I see,
copy and it was in their,
it was stuck on their SD card on their camera someplace else. You didn't see it, right? So it didn't bother you. You just were, I don't know.
That's interesting, Gina. It works both ways too. When I interviewed Philip Kaplan, Pud, he was saying that we got weirded out. It's the opposite of that, is with our photos and Flickr. That we got weirded out when there was one creepy guy in the little tiny photo box who saw all our photos, right?
But once it was everybody, who cares?
But millions of people seeing our photos is fine. Right. It's the opposite of that. It's kind of interesting.
Right.
The
whole creepy guy in the photo booth. I forgot him.
Yeah.
Should Skype worry that we talked about this RTC thing a couple of weeks ago that Google had was starting to do WebRTC, open source software, in the Chrome browser for video conferencing. What's wrong with that? Thinks it's a good idea. Skype cowers in fear, according to Engadget.
Microsoft, aka Microsoft cowers.
That's right. Maybe they should. When is that? When are we going to see that? I don't know. Not long after releasing WebRTC audio and video chat software as open source, which was, as we mentioned a few weeks ago, Google has started putting it in Chrome. The company's planning for WebRTC to be a frontrunner for video conferencing and online chatting. And because it's royalty-free, Mozilla, Opera, I guess everybody but IE are encouraged to include it in their browser as well.
I love this. I love building out the browser platform. I mean, more and more I realize, Google says they're about the web. They're really about making the browser the platform. And what I like about that is that it's like, here's Chrome, which is an awesome browser, but because we're working with standards, we're working on open standards and we're using open source software, every other browser can also use this technology. So, you're free to go to another browser. It's kind of this like, here's our choice, you can make other choices. And this is the difference between native apps, right, and browser apps. I'm starting to call them browser apps more because they're
I like that.
browser based, right? And it just makes a lot of sense for Google because Chrome's an incredible platform, but it also gives everyone else a chance to compete. And so, and I'm all for open standards, like open video and audio standards built into the browser. That's great for everybody, not only Chrome OS. This isn't like Google's just doing this for Chrome OS. Every other browser can use this.
Will there be a Trapani .gina in your future? ICANN has announced that starting next year, you can use any word as a top-level domain. They call them generic TLDs or GTLDs. But I don't think Gina or I will be registering them anytime soon because it's not cheap and the application process is quite elaborate. We're talking around, I think, $185,000. So the only people, there's a good article on geek.com explaining the process, which is quite involved. In fact, they had to do a flow chart.
Good God. I'm fine with bureaucracy, but not $185,000.
Well, I think the idea is that it's not open to everybody. It's open to HP, Apple, Google, companies like that. It seems a little confusing to me to be in a world where you're told, okay, now I want you to go to ft.murdoch. Or something like that. I don't know. What's wrong with .com? Are we really that?
And as if those companies don't have enough money to just buy the .com domain that they want anyway.
Right. HP's got HP.com. They use HP as an example a lot. So I guess HP will be buying .hp, drivers.hp. I guess I don't know.
It feels spammy.
It does.
Right? And it feels as if, so now there's another damned race and somebody with more money than I have is going to get .jarvis and have it forever. And, I'm all for opening things up, but if you're going to open it up, really open it up or don't. And this halfway of only opening it up for rich people is very un-internet, I think.
I agree 100%. It just bugs the hell out of me. Now, if I had $185,000, if I found it under a seat cushion, would I register .leo? I don't think so.
But boss, should you register .twit?
Well, if it were $12, I would do it.
Yeah.
But I can't. I'm $185,000. Think what I could do with that.
$10,000, would you do it?
No.
No.
5, I might.
All right.
10,000,
Well,
that's a lot of money, Jeff.
I know it is. Well, got to buy a lot of bricks for you.
I'd have to sell a lot of bricks for that.
Well, and I think Google's official position is probably going to be that we'll make sure that whatever URL you use or whatever TLD you use, we know how to crawl it. And that makes perfect sense. You know, if you've got .film or .movie, you want to make sure that that can be returned.
Does it make your life harder, Matt?
Well, there will be people who have to rewrite some code, I'm sure. The only concern that I really have is if you have a domain name like .bank, right, there's a chance for consumer confusion there. Do you go to citibank.com or city.bank or just .bank or,
good point.
you know, bank.com or something like that? So I think it will be fine. In fact, it will probably make people search more because they won't know. Do I go to
Where do I go?
BurgerKing.com or
Well, that's interesting.
idea. And
it makes URLs less useful.
Yes, and it's a greedy. I think it's a greedy ploy by ICANN to get because think about this. You don't want a bad guy to register .bank. So so does that mean that Bank of America or somebody else has to spend for them? I guess 185,000 is no big deal, but think of all the TLDs. I mean, is HP going to register .HP sucks?
Well, what happens when BP registers .earth?
Right.
Oy.
I think this is now we've hit the nail on. This is a terrible idea. It's got to be motivated by pure greed.
Well, I can also try the devil's advocate position, which
Okay,
is, you know,
please do.
there might be some TLDs that could be known and trusted. Like if you knew .bank really was, you know, for reputable banks, or if you knew that .xxx really was only for porn or something like that, then you'd know where to find your banks or you'd know where to find your porn or something like that. And it is true that you see a lot of really weirdly named .coms because they couldn't get any real domain name. So those would be the points.
But you could resolve that just as the phone company does by adding new area codes. You could add a .cot, you know, and then that gives you an infinite, you know, a whole nother equal set of domain names. I don't know why
there ought to be a .movie instead of, you know, whatever
I
movie
can't set it up. Not Universal.
Yes. Yes.
Because that's the other thing. If you're Universal or Sony, you're going to run for this and hope to own .movie.
And hold out everybody else.
And nobody else can do it.
It becomes a restraint. This is, you know, in the great abundant internet, this is where the scarcity is. And the irony is we just went to IPv6 and we have abundance of numbers again. And we have a scarcity of names. And the irony is by opening up more names in a limited way like this, it only makes the scarcity worse. Because with .com, you have to fit it in somehow. And there's, you know, virtually no limit of .com names. But if you can go in and buy .bank and limit it to 2 banks, you've created a new layer of scarcity.
Right. I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say that this will never happen. That somebody's gonna wake up and smell the coffee because this is a bad idea. Foursquare, 10 million users.
Okay.
Pretty good.
I got the Swimmies badge the other day by checking in on a beach.
Forbidden visual, Leo. We love you, bud.
Every time I get the only tweet I allow Foursquare to do is a badge tweet. I don't allow it to do a tweet on a mayorship or, God forbid, a check-in. So a badge is once every 2 months or 3 months. But invariably, I have 4 or 5 people saying, I'm unfollowing you, Foursquare spammer. I'm happy. Come on, I got a badge.
Celebrate the badge. You're in your
Swimmies. Is Foursquare? It's not. There's no value to Foursquare.
It's fun.
I do it. Do you all do it?
I do.
I've done it less, I got to admit.
I've signed up, but I haven't really gotten into it, and it was strange because I went skydiving this weekend, and the people went there, and then they were like, "How do I check in to show that I skydived?" And I was like, you know, just skydive, just enjoy it.
No. You want the badge. You want the wind in my hair badge.
There needs to be a record. Foursquare needs to say that you went. I don't believe you went skydiving. Foursquare needs to validate.
That's actually the fun thing about Foursquare. I mean, people are at 30,000 feet about to jump out of an airplane, and they're creating a new Foursquare location at that GPS saying 30,000 feet out, about to jump out of an airplane.
That's 3D.
I'm the mayor.
Do you guys check into Facebook places?
No.
Good God, no.
Latitude, I allow Latitude to automatically check me in because that's nice. It just does it. I like Latitude, actually. I use Latitude, but that one's completely automatic. Foursquare's got the gaming component. By the way, Foursquare pointed out that there is an actual mayor who's a mayor. The mayor of New York City is the mayor of City Hall.
Nice. I went to City Hall, and I'm trying to remember. I don't think I saw Bloomberg as the mayor. I don't know. Maybe he had been.
I thought it was. Maybe I'm wrong.
That's great, though.
Bloomberg's CTO, Rachel Stern, who's a wonderful, wonderful young woman.
I follow her on Twitter. I did not know that she was his CTO. I just followed her.
Yeah, she's that now. Yeah. Rachel's just. I'm a big fan of hers, and she's great. So I'm sure that she had a little something to do with that.
Well, let me look because I have the infographic here. This is actually a cool infographic showing how Facebook grew from 0 to 10 million users in just a couple of years.
Foursquare.
Foursquare.
What did I say? Facebook? Foursquare.
Yeah.
This is interesting. Happiness. So the happier you are, the bluer you are, which is wrong. And the unhappier you are, the redder you are. And so this on Manhattan, looks like people downtown are more happy than people on the Upper East Side. That makes
Is this
sense.
sentiment analysis of the shout-outs?
Of shouts, yes.
Oh, nice.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
It says 6-to-1 ratio of yays to ughs globally. Here's some life moments, and here it is. The actual mayor, real-world mayors enthroned on Foursquare at Mike Bloomberg, mayor of City Hall, New York City. Isn't that awesome?
Sweet.
And Rachel Stern probably gets the credit for that. This is kind of a nice infographic they did. There it is.
Is Staten Island just red or?
Yeah.
Oh,
no.
Sorry.
No, there's not that many. Is that Staten Island right here, down here? Where is that?
Yeah, like bottom left.
There's hardly anybody checking in there.
You got a problem with that?
There's 4 happy people and 5 unhappy.
Half of it's a dump.
That might be Ellis Island.
Was that Ellis Island? All right.
Island, no.
In London, not a lot of happiness in London. This is the London Eye right there, I think, is the blue part. Hong Kong, only the people on the coast.
Yeah.
Isn't that funny? I just think that's hysterical. Where people go, apparel, banks, convenience, and home and retail are the most popular chains.
This is what Dennis has been wanting to do is to now finally start feeding back the data. I mean, you know, Google's great value is that it takes what we do and gives it back to us by adding value along the way. And this is where Foursquare can start to prove some value to us. I mean, it can tell you as an individual how often you've nicked in for that coffee. It can tell us as a kind of country and group of friends what we're doing, and that's when it starts to gain some added value.
That's actually why I love Latitude, because I love the graph on the dashboard saying you only spend 11 hours a day at work or something. Actually, it's kind of embarrassing. I don't spend much time at work at all.
Oh no.
No, I don't.
You're just productive.
That's right.
We all see how present you are. You're on all the time, Leo.
But I'm not, though. It's kind of interesting. I'll pull up my dashboard and show you. But anyway, before we do that, I'm going to take a break, and we are going to get your tool. No, I have a tool. You have a tip, and you have a number, and Matt has something, too, for us, I believe, coming up in just a bit. Before we do that, we do want to mention our good friends at Netflix. I don't even know why I do an ad for Netflix. It's like Coles to Newcastle. Show of hands, how many of you are not yet Netflix members? Nobody. 0. Oh, you. Okay, would you please do this? Go to Netflix. See, I found one. Netflix.com/TWiT and sign up for Netflix. Now, here's the deal. Forget the DVD by mail thing. Yeah, that's cool. But the watch instantly, you never have to think ahead anymore. You just go home. You fire up your PlayStation 3, your Xbox 360, your Nintendo Wii, your Roku box, your Blu-ray player. A lot of TVs now have Netflix on them. Your Apple stuff, your iPhone and your iPad, many Android phones now, and you just go there and bada bing, bada boom, you're watching a movie. I love Netflix, and it's $7.99 a month for the streaming only subscription. Now that is a great deal. Try everything, the whole thing free. Netflix.com/TWiT, and if you decide you want it, you don't have to do anything, but they'll know. They'll know it's us. Hard Day's Night. Love that. Scary Movie. Love that. No, I don't love that. But Hackers. One of the worst movies about hacking ever made. Angelina Jolie. We're watching it. Look at that. Look how instantly you can just watch a movie, even just on an impulse. And now Mad Men coming soon to Netflix. along with Glee. Netflix.com/TWiT. Look, the movie is about to start. Look at that. Should we just watch Hackers for a while? No, maybe not.
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot. Angelina Jolie, popular. Yes, I forgot. I asked Kara Swisher what her favorite movie was. No, we were talking about Salt. She says,
yes.
Salt. Angelina Jolie. What more do you need to know?
Yeah, basically. The tourist too. That was just like, watch Angelina Jolie and Johnny Depp do things. Like, fine, that's fine.
Really, I haven't seen that yet. All right, I'll have to watch that.
It's worth just the visual feast.
A visual feast.
Yes. Both of them.
Another
I like
side of
Johnny
Gina.
Depp too.
Yeah, we thought it was all just Glee.
We could do our special Crushes edition.
Gina's Crushes. Next, on a very special This Week in Google.
Weeds starts this weekend. That tells you something about mine.
Yeah, I love Weeds.
Oh,
and I
Mary Louise
love
Parker.
her.
Yeah, she's awesome.
Sons of Anarchy. Anybody watch that?
No, what's that all about?
So it is on Netflix, and I watched the first 2 seasons, and then after that you have to do Amazon On Demand or something.
Is it British?
It's no, it's FX or something. It's about a motorcycle gang. It's really, really good.
Oh, so Sons of Anarchy.
You surprise me constantly. You're climbing mountains. You're jumping out of planes. You're into motorcycle gangs. You just don't look the part, my friend.
He's amazing, isn't he?
My wife got me hooked.
Just amazing.
Is this how you get your aggression out? Because in fact, I just talked about you this morning at Pitney Bowes. I tell the story about you and buying the scale on Blippi and all that, and talking about how you're surprisingly one of the nicest guys on earth when you have the most right to be a cynical ass, and you're not. So now I guess I'm getting this picture. Is this how you get your aggression out?
I can neither confirm nor deny.
Do you have a motorcycle?
I don't.
You know, I could see you on a Harley, a big fat hog.
Maybe a little Vespa scooter or something.
So here's my latitude dashboard: 24,279 miles traveled. But this is the one that's embarrassing: 20 hours a week average at work.
No, because it's lying to you, Leo. You're there all the time.
Google Latitude never lies. Well, it does have the wrong address, though. Maybe I've only spent half my time next door, apparently. Time at home. Oh, there's my home address. Never mind. Time spent out, 27 hours a week. I'm out of the house. It's cool. I just think it's cool. It's cool. I love it. And it does that all automatically. And for all I know, it's sending it to the CIA, which is great. It saves me time on explaining where I've been. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. Of course not. No, it wouldn't. Never.
You have nothing to hide, Leo.
I don't. So let's do Matt's Google Word of the Day.
Excellent. My word of the day is agglutinative.
What?
So I've never heard of this word before, but I was reading the official Google blog, and they were talking about how they added support for 5 new Indic languages.
Wow.
So Bengali, Tamil, Telugu, and they mentioned the word agglutinative, which evidently means, when you add extra sort of words, it means sticky. So you're sort of adding things on the end to sort of say the tense or the number or something like that. So agglutinative.
So that's good. It's like from the root gluten.
Yeah, it's like German. Yeah, you stick a whole bunch of words together, or Russian, those kinds of languages.
This term was introduced by Wilhelm von Humboldt in 1836 to classify languages from a morphological point of view. That's really good. Agglutinative. Thank you. We should do that more often, Matt. The word of the day.
Yeah, I like it.
I want to do the phrase of the day.
I smell a calendar coming on.
Yeah. I want to do the phrase of the day because I loved that. And it wasn't yours, but you did quote the Gutenberg parenthesis, and I didn't. Yeah. I mentioned it, but I didn't define it, Jeff.
It's from a bunch of researchers at the University of Southern Denmark, and they argue that before Gutenberg, we were very much about process and flow, and everything got remixed as it was passed around. And then in the 500 years dominated by text, everything was set down and permanent and serial and beginning to end in everything. And now we're coming back out on the other side of the parenthesis. We're going back to flow and remix, and things are being malleable and plastic. And that's what's blowing our minds. That's why people object to things like algorithms instead of editors, and to not having things in a finite form like an article. And so the Gutenberg parenthesis becomes a wonderful way, I think, to explain the different ways we're now cognating the world based on how media is changing around us.
And I gather that the notion of parenthesis is that began with Gutenberg, but it's ending
bounded.
now. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Here's an interesting little factoid. There's a bright young guy named Noah. Oh crap! Now I'm gonna forget another name. Noah, whatever your last name is, who worked with people at Reed College on a paper, and he said they tried to analyze the most important Noah Pepper. Thank you, Noah Pepper. Patents of recent years, and they did it by just looking at citations within patents, right? So it was a closed universe. And he said that the most important patent was the inkjet printer, because apparently it was a new thing that says we're going to physically place matter exactly where we want it.
Wow.
Right? And so that's what leads to things like 3D printers and distributed manufacturing and all kinds of other things, right? But it also struck me, what's interesting is not only does the Gutenberg age of text start to come to, not a close, but it comes to the next phase. But similarly, the whole technology of impressing ink on paper physically is also going to go away.
Yes.
We had 500 years of it. Probably no invention in the history of mankind has had this kind of staying power and this kind of impact. And it led to so much else. But we're now going to do that same process by all kinds of other ways. Xerography, inkjet, screens, e-ink, all these other ways. And physically impressing ink on paper starts to die away, which I find, pardon me, I'm Guten geeking out right now, but I find that interesting.
No, in fact, I think that the measure of what you just said is true, is how much letterpress printing has become a hipster artifact. That it's, instead of being, oh yeah, that's how you print, it's, ooh, isn't this cool? In fact, I think it's TWiG has letterpress business cards. They're real thick stock, and they're pressed in there.
You can feel them.
It's the ultimate hipster artifact. The printing press.
I got so upset. I missed a Kickstarter project where they're bringing back out of an archive a type foundry that operates not unlike the way Gutenberg did. You have the flat thing at the bottom with the letter impressed on it, and then you put it into a mold and you pour the metal in, and that becomes the font.
That's
right?
cool.
And they're reopening. And if you gave enough money, if you gave $75, you could get a headline out of a Ludlow machine, which I desperately want.
Wow.
But anyway, geeking
out as always. Gina Trapani, our tip of the week.
Tip of the week: forget ink on paper. You can now copy and paste images on your clipboard. So an image that's on your clipboard into Gmail, which is cool. So if you want to attach an image, you don't have to open the file box and all that stuff. So you have to have rich text enabled. I usually deal with plain text, so rich text has to be enabled, and it's really good for sending screenshots. If you do Control Command Shift 4 to get a screenshot onto your clipboard in the Mac, you can just Control V into Gmail on Chrome. And I think the shortcut is like Alt Print Screen on Windows, same deal. So
all of this seems to be motivated by the Chromebook, don't you think? That this is like the more we put into the browser capabilities.
Yeah, although there's not a whole lot of, I don't know if there's a situation where you would have an image on your clipboard on the.
I guess you don't have do you have a clipboard even? I don't know.
There is definitely a clipboard. I don't know. I guess you could select an image in a web page and get it on your clipboard. Yeah, it makes sense. But yeah, I think this is just all about sort of, the whole objection to web apps was, well, you can't deal with files the way that you can a native app, and I think this is just about breaking down those walls.
By the way, Lifehacker has a new book by somebody you might know, Gina Trapani and Adam Pesh.
The new edition of the Lifehacker book is out. Yeah, lifehackerbook.com. Just came out this week. Adam did the revisions, and I did the tech edit, so I got to edit him again, which I'm sure he loved. And the book is out. It's available on Amazon, and it'll be in bookstores, so check it out.
I'm kicking myself now because I have the first one, and I should have had you autograph that when you were here.
Oh yeah.
I'm kicking myself. Well, you'll have to come back.
We've got the new one on its way to you, Leo.
Oh, good. Yeah. But I like the first one is like great.
First editions are more valuable.
Yeah, it's just more valuable. Jeff Jarvis, your number of the week.
I found this interesting. The Google said to the FCC that voice communication is now the tail wagging the dog. And the numbers they gave, I loved. In 1997, I'm going to throw out a lot of numbers here, but I'll make it as cogent as I can. In 1997, there were 54,000 terabytes of voice data. and 3.3 thousand terabytes. So 54 versus 3.3 terabytes of internet, right? Jump to 2015, where voice data off the internet, non-VoIP, is 26,000 terabytes, half of what it used to be in 97, all right? IP, VoIP data is 23,000 terabytes. So the two of them add up to the voice that you had in 97.
So that's what's happening.
But internet, mind you, so that's 26,000, 23,000. Internet is 19 million terabytes of data.
Oh.
And there's in the TechCrunch post, there's a big circle that shows the internet and little dots that show voice. And the FCC and regulation are paying more attention to voice when the internet is now 160 times that of the voice network. So that's my number of the week.
My tool of the week comes from Denmark via the great Google Maps Mania blog. And apparently, I guess this makes sense that when I just think of the Blues Brothers and Carrie Fisher's hair salon, Curl Up and Die. Apparently, when you start a hair salon, you have to have a pun in the name. To prove this, a Danish website, I Won't Cut My Hair. What I find interesting is they use the OpenStreetMaps database to map the data onto Google Maps, and now you can find every punny hair salon there is in the whole world just by clicking on these little. These aren't that.
Oh, that's magnificent.
Dollar Cuts Hair Media Salon.
This is great.
Fuss Art of Hair. Silly, isn't it? But I do kind of like it that they were using the Google Maps with the Open Maps database, OpenStreetMaps database.
When I was a columnist on the San Francisco Examiner so many years ago, it used to be a real newspaper.
Yeah.
One of my proudest projects, one of my stupidest, proudest projects, is that I went down El Camino Real, and I cataloged every fast food place along the whole route.
That's a long list.
It was quite a project. No Google Maps at the time. And I got in trouble because I made fun of this one place. Their name was Quiche Me Quick. Remember quiche, guys?
Yeah, but their Wiener Schnitzel is still there, I promise you.
Yeah. We don't have a quiche anymore. Now we have Glee.
Right. Hey, Matt, by the way, I don't know if this is yours. Cutting Up. That's good. That could be yours right there. Matt Cutts, thank you so much for being here. He is, of course, the guy in charge of keeping spam out of our search results.
God bless him. God's work.
Does God's work. And he's just look at he's glowing like the sun.
It's like the heavens are sucking Matt back up into
He's going up above.
The rapture would, of course, start at Google.
He's going to be up there soon. Actually, it's one floor up. It's the next. Anyway, thank you, Matt, for being here. We really appreciate it. Google Spam Fighter. He's at Matt Cutts on the Twitter. Gina Trapani, of course, is beloved of all, especially for her great choice in headwear.
Yes.
She's at Gina Trapani. You'll find her at smarterwear.org. And, of course, thinkupapp.com. Jeff Jarvis is the author of What the Heck Would Google Do? His fine book, available in better bookstores everywhere. And I would switch to him if I could. There we go. What's this? Oh, my God!
It's a book cover.
It's here. It's here.
No, it's the galleys, but that's
I like the cover.
I've not shown it anywhere.
That's the new book, Public Parts. And
Toilet Man.
And let's see the subtitle here.
How sharing in the digital age improves the way we work and live.
I love it. Public
That's
Parts.
awesome. Congratulations, Jeff.
Good cover. Really good cover. I like it. Thank you, Jeff Jarvis. Of course,
thank you, Leo. Thank you for 100 episodes of great fun.
Happy 100 episodes, all.
Take care, everybody. Thank you for joining us. We do this show every Wednesday afternoon, 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern, 2000 UTC at live.twit.tv. Watch live or download it after the fact at twit.tv/TWiG. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time on This Week in